Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. We're live right now. We're live. I had to go live because we were scheduled to go on at 7. I'm going to have like 2 amazing guests on the show today, but I needed to go live before Facebook disconnected and we couldn't go live. How are you, Miss Dr. Naomi Blemur? How are you? Sandra Sheffer, host of Racing the Races. I'm live, and I'm Dr. Naomi Blemur is going to be with us, and Christina Sanon-Jules is going to be with us. We're waiting for her to come and join. So, we're going to have a special episode today, and we're going to talk about like all of the stuff that's immigration. So we have a special episode today. We're going to be talking about all this different stuff that's happening in immigration. And I want the ladies to introduce themselves because y'all know me, Sandra Sheffer, host of Racing the Races. I'm on like year 3 of doing this, try to keep up with as much current stuff is going on. What's big right now is every day something is happening with immigrants. And Dr. Naomi Blemur reached out to me. Christine Sanon-Jules has been doing all this work. And, they were like, we got to talk about this, right? So it's really going to be their stage today. And I'm just going to add my little commentary. Dr. Blemur, I think she needs a minute to get her camera on. Hey, how you doing? Look, all right, we got all the faces now. But I came on, right before you guys did because, we had to get the show started because Facebook, if you don't start within a certain amount of time, they you got to reset up the whole thing, right? Okay, Sandra Sheffer, host of Racing the Races. All right, Dr. Blemur, introduce yourself to the listening audience. Tell us what it is that you want us to talk about today. And then then Christine Sanon-Jules will introduce herself next, and then we'll get the show started.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. For everyone who's tuned in, this is Naomi Esther Blemur. I am a small business owner. I am a community advocate and someone who has ran for office twice. One as Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Florida, and recently for mayor for the city of North Miami. Today's show, if you will, is extremely important because I truly believe that we have a responsibility as leaders to ensure that individuals are aware of what is at stake and they understand what their decision-making process should look like, taking into consideration the consequences for the decision they choose to make. And so, Sheffer, it's an honor to be here. Christine, it's an honor to be here. I look forward to the conversation.
All righty. All right, community leader.
Hi, everyone. It's Christine. I don't need to get into a whole introduction. You already know I'm a voice for the community. I'm a former candidate, but right now I'm just here for the people. I think that this conversation needs to be had only because time is ticking. Things are moving fast every single day. And I think that it's important for us to let the people know what's at stake. Just like Naomi said, they need to know that this is real and we need to start taking action. And I understand that a lot of people are taking action right now. We're not saying that, but for those that are not, we're having this conversation so people know what their options are and so that we could start moving just a little faster than we are now. So thanks.
And this is amazing because, both of these women have done something that I will not ever dare do, right? They've both ran for office. Now, I'm cool with candidates and I'll help them. I'll do a whole lot of behind the scenes, give a little money, do a little flyer, go stand outside for you, but I'm not subjecting myself to running. I'm very respectful. You guys don't understand how that's such an incredible thing. And it takes a lot of strength, to do something like that because you want to serve, but people are something else, right? So it's a very incredible thing. And they talk about it lightly, like it's not a big deal. I'm telling you, it's a huge deal to run for office. You know what I mean? They're committed to that work. And I'm really respectful that they're doing that. And I ain't ready yet. Maybe when I grow up, I'll do it. But right about now, it's a no for me. Okay, it's okay. But actually, no, it's an incredible thing. I just don't have, my life isn't set up for it yet. That's really why I wouldn't do it. Because you have to have a really good village behind you in order for you to do that. If you have young children, you gotta have a village to do it. And my life ain't set up for it yet. But as soon as soon as it is, it will definitely be something that may be part of my future. Maybe kind of, sort of, probably. I don't know. All righty.
Yeah,
We're here to talk.
And listen, we're gonna be right behind you. Okay?
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, right? And I know y'all will. Okay, so but today what we're supposed to be talking about, like immigration. But the crazy thing is, like, it's so much going on that we literally can talk about like 1,000 different things, because there's so many things that are just like, oh my God. So, but what we decided to talk about is something that's a real big deal in South Florida, right? You know, this is a community filled with immigrants from across the world, and people are getting caught up, right? So, you know, Dr. Blemur and Christine, they were like, no, we got to find a way to inform folks, let them know, to at least kind of prepare for like what's the unexpected, and expect the unexpected, and then whatever happened, what next steps are going to do. Because one thing we don't do here is like, we don't complain without offering solutions. So we're here to talk. So, you know, we don't complain without offering solutions. Now, whether you take them and listen, that's on you, but we're not going to only complain. We always offer solutions and give you like some sort of game plan on what it is that you can do moving forward. So who wants to start? Who wants to, because, you know, I'm all things immigration, but I want to know where y'all at and what y'all want me to kind of add to and talk about. So who wants to start? Who wants to start?
So I'll go ahead and start. Number
Okay.
one, I feel that a lot of information has come out even just this week, and you and I spoke yesterday, Sandra, and I think that people are not understanding that some of the things that are happening sort of overlap each other. So we were talking about the CBP1 app that everybody's talking about, like, oh, if you applied on this app, now you have to leave immediately. And it's like, okay, after we spoke, I realized some of the people that applied on CBP1 app are also the ones that applied for humanitarian parole, or they may also be the ones that are on TPS. Like, there's an overlap there. So it's not a set of 900,000 new people that we've got to go out and fight for. If you could just explain a little bit about that and how that overlaps and things like that.
Right. So the unfortunate part of them making CBP1 a problem is because one of the major complaints that people who are anti-immigrant always say is that, oh, we have all of these people here and we don't know that they're here, right? So that's always the complaint. Oh no, we got all these illegals, these undocumented, they're here, we don't know that they're here, right? Now, the people who came in with CBP1, they know all of those people are here because they actually asked for permission to come. They did exactly what the administrations were saying that they wanted people to do. They're like, don't just be crossing the border and we don't know you're here. So those people, they go, they sign up, they ask for an appointment, they get an appointment. When their appointment time comes up, they process them, they let them in. So every CBP1 person that's here, the government knows that they're here because the government is the one that let them come in, right? And so for those to be the people for them to target, to say, oh, we're going to just take this away from you and send you away, it's really, it's just, to me, it's a little bit of low-hanging fruit, because those are actually the people they know. They know that they're here, right? Because you have all that information already. They had to give it to you. They had to tell you who they were going to live with, where they were going, and all of that stuff. So it's because they're the ones that they can actually get to, because those folks actually did the right thing to let you know that they were coming into the United States. And that's why it's so unfortunate, because they did exactly what they thought they were supposed to do and what was being asked of them to do. So everyone will know that they're here and they're not sneaking into the country.
And so now they are being asked to leave immediately. They're not even given a day.
Yeah, so I think there's a day, there's an April 24th day or something like that I've seen circulating. Now, I can't tell anybody to break the law. Like, I can't tell anybody to break the law, right? But what I am going to say, I can't tell nobody to break the law. But what I am going to say is this is not the first time that there has been a change in immigration law and they told everybody to leave. And there's some people who packed up all of their stuff and left. And then there ended up being some provision in the law that allowed them to stay. You understand? So that's all I can say to that, because it's very disruptive to tell a person who's been living here however long, pack your stuff up and go where, go how. You're leaving so much behind. You probably already started having roots. You got family, all of this stuff, right? So all I'm going to say is that it's going to be very difficult for them to get 900,000 people and counting out of the United States, for one thing. And again, the last time they did that, because let me give you an example of what it was. So now there's a thing that's called unlawful presence. That hasn't always been in the law. So like if you were out of status for 6 months and you left, then you had what they call a 3-year bar. Like you couldn't come back to the United States for 3 years without getting a waiver. And then if you were here for a year, over a year, then you had a 10-year bar. So all of those people who knew they were out of status, they're like, listen, y'all better get out of here or else you're going to have these bars and you can't get back in the country and all that stuff. So people was packing up their life and leaving. And then of course they developed waivers, and it was all different ways in which they could have gotten their papers. And if you were paroled or you came in with like a visa, even if you overstayed, you're still allowed to adjust your status, saying if you married someone or you had a child that became 21 years old and they can apply for you, even if you stayed, even if you overstayed, you can still get your green card here. And what was crazy thing, the people who ended up leaving and going back, they're the ones that had the harder time coming back in if they were married or if they had children, because now the unlawful presence kicked in and they had to apply for waivers to come back in, which was an even more expensive and extensive process. So I said a whole lot of stuff. Take what y'all want out of that.
That's good.
I can't tell you to break the law, but what I'm saying is that when the last time they did something like this, there were provisions that allowed those individuals to stay and get lawful status in the United States.
And we saw that the Venezuelans got a provision. Is that what's happening right now?
Yeah. So the other thing we want people to understand is though, most of the things that they're trying to do, that's kind of not how it works, right? It's like, what you trying to do? The law doesn't allow you to do this. What are you talking about, right? And so, but it makes the headlines. People get all like, he's doing a great job. The ones, the anti-immigrants who want them all, oh, that's what he's doing. He's kicking butt. But while he's kicking butt, he's also getting his butt kicked in court, right? So, no, for real. He's getting his butt kicked in court to the point now that he's trying to make it where, the Congress get to say that, oh, they don't have to listen to judges, or he takes things to the Supreme Court that's friendly towards them. And they're like, well, what they don't do is that they don't make decisions because they know, like, if they issue an order, it's unlawful and it's contrary to law. So they said, well, we'll just pause it. Like, they're not going to say anything about it. When they issue those stays, they're not doing anything because they know the thing that they're going to do is unlawful and it's against, it's not what the law allows, right? So because he's getting his butt kicked in court, now he's trying to circumvent the court to be able to do all of these things that are actually unlawful. So we see it makes the headlines. And people are all like, oh, he's doing all of this stuff. But the reality is he's getting his butt kicked in court left and right, left, front, and center. And now he's trying to find another way to get somebody else to say, I don't have to listen to what those judges said, right? So, and that's very dangerous for the country, because one of the things is that we have checks and balances. We're supposed to have 3 co-equal branches of government, right? And to allow just one person to just do everything, that's just not how America is supposed to work. And that's not the way it should work.
With that, you actually brought me right into the segue of the laws that he is actually utilizing in order for these things to happen. So, pour tout le monde capte de nous, et ça, avocat Sandra dit, c'est que les États-Unis pas supposé fonctionner genre que l'a fonctionné, hein. Mais nous au courant que gain loi qui livre là. En anglais nous dit on the books. There are laws that are on the books that nobody has been looking at, nobody has focused on to say that these laws need to change. These laws are no longer in right standing with who America is right now. And these are some of the laws that he is utilizing in order to do these things. So ça veut dire qu'on ça que gen loi qui était là depuis années des années, malgré Amérique a fait avance pour changer façon que la fonctionner, mais personne pas travaille pour étirer loi ça yo ou pour changer loi ça yo, et ou vinn gagner ces loi ça yo que l'a utiliser dans moment ça pour que li mette immigrants dehors dans pays. Premier bagay nou vle pour nous dire pas grand rien qu'a fait là dans moment ça que Trump pas dit t'a pas le fait. There is nothing that's happening right now that Trump did not say he is going to do. I mean, we don't even have time to go over Project 25, mais sous juste Google Project 25, ou ka li long, li environ 800 pages, it's like 800 pages. Yes, it's long, but literally just copy, paste it, drop it in an AI and tell AI to give you a breakdown of it. You will see everything that is happening right now. C'est un plan policy que yo mette en place pour remettre avec président, pour dire président, mais qui ça pour faire. So it is a plan. This has been being planned for years. We are now just feeling the brunt of it. Nous choc, nous saisi, oh my God, qui ça qu'a passé là? Mais républicains yo strategically travaillent ensemble, yo mettent tête yo ensemble pour dire mais qui loi que nous pensons nous besoin appliquer États-Unis pour changer système nan Jean que l'ité pour nous un système qui ressemblait à ça yo vle. Est-ce que li bon? Est-ce que li pas bon? I'm here to talk about that right now. The fact is, it is happening and it's happening right now. Okay? So, premier bagay que nous ouais, grand pile bagay que la fait, mais nous pas gen temps pour nous couvrir tout bagay. Premier bagay nous a dit que he has a mandatory registration for undocumented immigrants. Ça veut dire qu'on ça un bagay qui mandatory, ça veut dire ça que ou gagne obligation si que ou ici ou pas gain papier et matter qui jonte ou te vini now nous pas parler de monde qui te vini sous Biden, monde qui vini avec TPS, n'a parler de monde qui entre dans pays qui pas gain aucun document li dit comme ça que ou doit register avec gouvernement et puis faut ou dit gouvernement que l'essentiel ou là et ou là illégalement. Et si tu pas fait ça, there's a fine up to $5,000 and maybe prison sentence up to 6 months. Dans un avocat, donc même pas avocat en 1 minute pour le détailler ça pour nous parce que nous même qu'à dire ça que non mais même pas passer frontière, yo pas connaître là, j'ai 10 ans là et bagay qu'a parler c'est pas pour moi. C'est pas vrai. C'est pas vrai. Sandra, can you kind of give us
so listen, you trying to get me in trouble. So these are things you trying to get me in trouble. I am not about to go on no live YouTube, Facebook, nothing and talk about how I would actually advise people with that bit of information.
Que ça c'est un bagage que son loi lié que li activé.
Okay, so then now you're gonna make me give you like a political answer. I have not had an opportunity to research what it is that you're talking about, so I'm not gonna necessarily comment on that. But but this is what I'm gonna say now, because again, I really I don't want to say how I would speak to a client if they came to me with that particular situation, because at the end of the day, I don't advise people to break the law, right? What I do is I tell people what their options are. Now all I'm going to say about that, right? So say this is a policy that they're trying to implement, right? What they're basically doing is making you do their job for them, right? Like, so if you decided, if the government passed some law and they got all these law enforcement people and you said you're finna go find all the illegals, go get them then, right? Go get them, go find them, go do your job, right? So when they're telling you, oh, go register, they're trying to make you go turn yourself over to them, right? Because again, remember all these CBP1 people that they're taking all of their rights from right now? Those folks followed the rules, did what they said, and look what's happening is biting them in the butt, right? So again, I can't tell nobody if you are told to go do this, not to do this. But what I do want to say though, this whole idea of registration is also not new, right? After September 11th happened, they had it where all the Muslims, if you was Indian, Pakistani, from the Middle East, all these places, all of those folks had to register, right? Because they tried to, just because you're a Muslim and from the Middle East or wherever, all of a sudden now you're a terrorist and they're worried about you, doing some terrible things to the United States. So this whole registration thing, that's not a new concept that's happening in America. However, all I want to say is like they're wanting you to do that because they're out here firing everybody from the government jobs and all of these kind of things, because they want to go give a whole bunch of tax breaks to rich folks. So they don't want to. They act like they're not going to have money to do anything else because they want to stop rich people from paying taxes. So now they want everyone to do their job for them. So when they're telling you to register, like I said, I can't tell you not to do what the law says. However, I just believe that it's a way for people to do the job they're getting paid to do. So they're making you just pretty much turn yourself over to them. And another reason why I say that is because there are some individuals that are presently being detained that should not be detained. They know they shouldn't be detained. So they're trying to pressure them into signing deportation orders and saying, you're the one that's deciding to go back. But they're like, no, I'm not. But they're like, because they can't, well, I would say they can't send people back, but we've already seen publicly that he deported someone to a country that the person's not even from, that shouldn't be deported. The courts is like, yo, bring this dude back. And he was like, yeah, I want to, right? Even though they know that they weren't supposed to send him back. And I will tell you that they have brought people back that were unlawfully deported before. I've had cases where we've had that. I've had them take people off planes. So this is not something that's unusual. It's not something that they can't do. So the crazy part of all of this is that it's very difficult to give good advice because they're doing things that are really contrary to the law.
Sandra, really quickly,
yes,
so dans 2 minutes, dis-là que tout bagay sa yo pas nouveau, pas vrai, depuis September 11, là que ou te gen Twin Towers qui te tombé Manhattan, yo te activé type de loi sa yo là, yo juste pas enforcé.
Okay, non, l'air, yo te fait ça. Yo te fait un bon moun enregistré. Yo fait tout moun yo vini enregistré. Genan yo kembe. Genan yo fait yo paye l'argent. Yo te fait ça. And après un temps, they forgot about it and they kind of let it go. But si on bagay yo toujours fait they're very reactionary. So you're toujours excité. Ya font bagay fait moun enregistré. But the reason why they want to do that is because they want to get all these people information for them to go get them, do whatever that it is. But the reality is that y'all can't send all them people back. You don't have the infrastructure for it. You don't have the space. You don't have the manpower. You don't got the nothing to do what it is that they're trying to do. And what they are doing is very inhumane. So instead of coming up with a comprehensive immigration plan to let the people who've been in the country like 20 years and have proven to you that they're not bad hombres and they're not criminals and they're not all of these things, instead of you at least trying to give them status and then sort out the rest with the ones who are truly criminals, they're out here doing all this horribly mean stuff.
And then the second one that I wanted to bring up in our conversation today is the 1996 law, which is now allowing him to charge every person who is in the country illegally as of April 25th, I believe. Is that the date? April 25th. To charge them $998. So, 2 jours de cela, yo vini avec un nouveau information que tout le monde qui l'a dans le pays, qui l'a illégalement et qui passe de pour, ça veut dire qu'on soit que pas monter sous app là pour dire que ou a quitté le pays, il a chargé $998, environ $1,000 par jour. Et yo ka charge comme ça par jour jusqu'à 5 ans. Sandra, what's up with that?
They can't collect it. That's you. How you gonna get it? How you gonna get it? You can't squeeze blood out of a tomato. Where you gonna get the money from? Like for real, where you getting it from? They don't pay nobody to be able to pay no fines like that. That don't even make no sense. Some people don't make that money in a month. So yeah, go ahead, have fun with it. All you're gonna have is a whole bunch of debt, bills that you're not gonna be able to collect on. We don't have debtors prison in the United States. What are they talking about? That's all I can say to that. How you gonna get it?
Okay, so the idea of charging the person who has not self-deported $1,000 a day is something that's real.
I don't know if that necessarily is a real thing because there's so much stuff that's out there. But So, but there is a provision that, say, for example, if a person is under a final order of deportation and they don't leave and they're supposed to, there is a provision in the law that does allow the government to charge them, a fine, like per day up to a certain amount of money, and there's penalties that you can go to jail for it, right? So there is some provision in the law that does allow for fines if you're under a final order. So this whole idea, when they say people are out of status, folks still have an opportunity to go to court, right? Like, you don't just start charging me fines and I wasn't given notice or opportunity to respond. That I might be illegal now, but that doesn't mean that there's no way for me to actually get status. You understand what I'm saying? So that whole thing is just arbitrary and capricious, and it really, again, he says all these things, he does all these things. They're being litigated. He's getting his butt kicked in court, and that's why he's always appealing it to the Supreme Court, because he believes, since he pretty much put almost all of them on there, they're loyal to him to a fault. But because they know they can't issue no order saying, "Oh, you don't have to bring this man back," they'll just get it, put it on pause, and not make a decision on it. So in effect, what he wants to have happen is happening without them actually making a ruling on it, because they know if they ruled on it, they would have to rule against him.
So it says it's the 1996 law from Title 8, Aliens and Nationality, Chapter 12, Immigration and Nationality, Subchapter 2, Immigration, Part 8, General Penalty and Provisions. So, nous voulons pour nous comprendre que ça fait 2 jours que li mette en action yon fille. Ça veut dire comme ça que si vous pas décidé pour déporter tête ou, États-Unis charge à peu près de $1,000 par jour jusqu'à 5 ans. Encore exactement ça. Et avocat Sandra dit que le que ou charge ça blanc, moun nan pas dans travail ou moun nan pas travail, et même s'il était dans travail, il pas touché, il pas gain moyen, ça pas vraiment gain une possibilité pour toucher comme là. Moi-même qui pas avocat, non mind pas moi, non cerveau pas moi, non pensée pas moi ouais c'est juste un gens pour dans sens fait que moun yo vle aller parce que ou ta joindre que ou fait 12 jours là, 50 jours là, et puis pour là ou vinn connaît que ou doué États-Unis comme ça. So ça c'est deuxième information que moi t'ai pensé qui était très 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 important que nous t'ai discuté jeudi. Et troisième bagay que moi t'ai voulu parler avec lui, on t'ai voulu parler avec Sandra, c'est sujet que nous connaissons, moun qui soi-disant t'es venu dans Biden, moun qui t'es venu joindre PS sous Biden tout, pas vrai? Qui ça a passé avec moun qui pas fait partie de ça, qui gagne ça y aurait les résidences. Nous venons apprendre que il y a plusieurs moun qui gagne résidence dans le pays qui viennent penser que yo OK, yo pas de problème, yo légal, après moun nan ka gen résidence pour 10 ans, et puis moun nan prend avion, la voyager, et la essayer retourner, yo bloqué moun nan, yo pas quitter moun nan entrer. M'ta mais faut tirer sur ça parce que it's one thing if you know that ou vini sous parole ou fait partie de moun qui vini sous Biden. OK, dans moment ça, c'était pour 2 ans, pour là, yo dit non, yo pas faut aller la caille. It's another thing, sous gen TPS, et puis chaque 2 ans, ou spécifique là, renew et gen moun kale dans Washington pour demander pour renew et puis yo toujours joine une possibilité pour renew Là, nous venons à une expérience totalement différente de 2 groupes mounsayo avec moun qui gagnent résidence. Ça qui passe là.
Okay, so this is the thing when you're a lawful permanent resident of the United States, right? Anytime when you leave and you're trying to come back, you're always asking for permission to come back. So it's not you. So anytime you come in, that's why they go. You're always asking for permission to come back, and they can refuse you.
I've never heard this before.
No, it's real. Yeah.
So, si que moi, pas gagné et passeport américain, pas américain, moi c'est un résident. Je suis un résident pour 10 ans. Chaque fois que je quitte le pays, le m'a retourné, c'est demander pour yo quitter m'entrer. Moi, pas droit pour m'entrer légalement. Si yo pas
if they don't want you to let you back in, they don't have to. You're always asking for permission to re-enter. And usually it's not a problem, right? Because if you haven't violated a law that makes you what they call inadmissible, okay. All right, but let me say it in English real quick. So when you leave and you're coming back, you're always asking for permission to come in, because sometimes people commit crimes in the United States that doesn't make them removable or deportable. Like, because you did it here, they won't deport you for it. However, if you're outside and you're coming in, they can refuse to let you come in because you committed the crime. Let me give you a basic example. So say someone has a misdemeanor marijuana possession charge, right? It's not a charge of what they call removability. They're not going to deport you for having a misdemeanor marijuana charge. However, it is a crime of inadmissibility. Like, they can refuse to allow you into the United States because you have a marijuana charge, right? Like, for example, so I had a situation where this person, you know, when you're coming in, you always have to do a medical. Anytime you're trying to get a green card, you always have to have a medical exam. So when this person went to do their medical exam, they drug tested them and there was marijuana in their urine. And the doctor reported that. So they refused to give them the green card to come in. There's like, nope, you got to stay out a year, come back, whatever. And then, you know, we'll test you. So marijuana is a charge of inadmissibility, meaning they don't have to let you come in with it. But if you're here and you have the charge, they won't deport you for it, right? So all that to say, when you're a returning resident, every time you come to the airport, to the border, wherever, you're always asking for permission to come back to the United States. The other thing, so say you're gone for, you know how people be like, oh, you have to be here at least 6 months. So say you're out 181 days. You got a green card that says it's valid for 10 years, but they can say you've been out more than 6 months. We think you abandoned your residency. They don't have to let you back in, right? Because they can say you've been gone too long. You decided you didn't want to live here no more because you were gone for 181 days or whatever. Or even if you're one of those people who, like, 3 months you're outside, you come in for a month, you be gone for 3 months. Those folks who like to do that. And that usually happens with a lot of the older folks. You know, they don't like to be here. They want to be in their payee and all that stuff, right? They can, and they've been doing this, refusing to allow them to come back in because they're saying you're abandoning your residency. And they're even saying you don't live here. You actually live in that other place that you like to spend all that time in, right? So again, a resident, being a lawful permanent resident doesn't guarantee you that you get to continue to come in, because you're always asking for permission to come back in. You're always asking for permission to come back in.
Welcome to All-Tech Lansing.
Ok, Sandra, bâtis-moi sur ça en créole parce que nous pas avocats, n'a pas prendre de ou même et nous croyons que moun k'ap gade dans moment ça et moun qui peut regarder le live la fini, yo pral apprendre de ça, c'est la première fois que m'attendais ça. Le on moun gen résidence soit c'est un bagage permanent. Chaque coup qui te paye a l'on retourner c'est demander permission pour entrer et yo ka décider pour yo dire non, yo pas entrer.
C'est ça. So, when you gen résidence, so bagay securely, non, c'est pas vrai. Chaque fois qui te paye, you're toujours quitte. Like, sous la aller, you're gone, right? Tout problème, c'est sous ka retourner. But log gen résidence, ou qu'importe visa, tout bagay, chaque fois on te dans airport là, ou dans faut demander yo permission, et puis si yo décide yo pas quitter rentrer, yo pas obligé. You know, et puis notre temps ça, président ça, son monde qui réellement méchant, and si, you know, li passe, li moun yo ka fait ça yo vle. So si yo pas quitter rentrer, yo pas quitter rentrer, and then there's nothing, somebody yo ka fait, y a prend résidence en nom, y a bon papier qui est le parole, y a voyo devant juge, expliquer tout by juge là, but yo ka prend résidence là non mais. So this part I'm going to have to say in English because I don't really know I'm not going to say la fois pour ça. So do you know the Columbia student? I don't want to get into the weeds with this, but the Columbia student that's a lawful permanent resident that was arrested and he's now in a jail in Louisiana. One of the things that they've said, right, because he was just like, what are y'all doing? Like, I'm a lawful permanent resident. I haven't committed any crimes, on and on and on, right? And they're starting to say
un étudiant qui a étudié Columbia University dans New York et li gagne résidence, mais yo te joindre que li t'a fait proteste, yo arrêté li et kounya la yo vle prendre résidence et même li vin choqué parce qu'il te pensait que résidence non son papier légal qui dit li gagne pouvoir, li gagne droit pour là et c'est kounya la pas prendre, non, c'est pas vrai.
Yeah, and they're saying that they can basically take it from him or detain him based on the things that he said.
So ça veut dire comme ça que la parole li t'a dit durant le t'a fait proteste là et administration déclaré yo ka prend résidence en Meni parce que ça li t'a dit yo li pas aligné avec ça que yo même yo croit que on monde que America bail possibilité pour venir dans pays ou doit faire.
Yeah, and there was another example, and I think this was a French national trying to come in, and apparently he had said some disparaging thing about the president, and they were like they didn't let him in either. And that's what a tour, when you have a tourist visa or any kind of visa, again, you're always asking for permission to come, and they can refuse your entry. So this is a very different time. So people got to be real conscious and cautious of what it is that they're saying, and you don't want to say you don't want to be like, this is America, right? We have free speech, but I'm just telling you, there's certain things that you say it, there's some consequences and you can run into some problems for it. And take that how you will, right? There's some people, they're going to be like, no, I have my constitutional protections. I'm going to go say what I'm going to say, whatever. But we're just here to tell you that there are consequences for certain speech because of the administration that we're in. There's consequences to speech. So you figure out, you decide how you want to live your life. You know what I mean? Because, some people want to smoke and some folks don't. But yeah. But with, and even as citizen, so the thing, right? Because now there's this whole talk that they're going to try to take away people's citizenship and all this stuff, right? So with citizenship, they can take it from you, but they have to put you in federal court. Like they can't just be like, your green card, they can refuse you entry at the border and that's it. And they can take your green card and then you go try to figure it out wherever you at, right? Your citizenship, in order for them to take it from you, they actually do have to take you in federal court, have a case against you, denaturalize you, and they basically are going to charge you like whatever it is and say you didn't get it the right way, or you had these ideas and you lied on your application when you got your citizenship and all of this type of stuff. But they have to denaturalize you to take your citizenship. That's a little bit more of an extensive and expensive process than it is for someone that has a green card. Because all they got to do, you leave, they're going to be like, you can't come back, period. That's it.
Si que ou gen résidence ou, c'est un bagay que yo ba ou, yo ka prendre nan men n'importe l'heure pour n'importe raison.
Pour toute qualité raison, yeah.
Si que ou c'est un citizen qui te naturalisé, yo ka décider que ou gon bagay ou fait que y a prend citizenship là.
Tu gen pu aller dans code fédéral avec ou pour yo faire ça.
Mais non code fédéral pour yo porter un charge contre ensuite pour yo prendre nan men.
Yeah.
At this point, n'a bay Flora, remettre Flora avec Christine et puis pour nous continuer.
Wow. Wow. This is a lot of information. So with all of this, I would like to ask, what do we think are the best next steps? Because I see that, some organizations are having like these free legal counsel events for migrants. People are doing Know Your Rights workshops. But I feel like we need to be doing something on a bigger scale, or you tell me, how do we direct the people? What do we do next? What are our next 3 steps?
Okay, so I'm going to say a couple of things. So one of the first things I'm going to say is, like, if you're a person and you're a lawful permanent resident and you're eligible for citizenship, you need to go ahead and apply. Like, forget that. Like, all this, like, I remember for a long time I had some friends who were residents, and they always in the back of their mind thought they were going to become the president of Haiti, so they would never become a citizen. You know what I mean? Because if, like, you're an American citizen, you can't run for office in Haiti, right? So there's like, no, I'm my president of Haiti, so my citoyen. Let me tell you, don't listen. if you are eligible for citizenship, you better go ahead and apply, but make sure you're eligible because you don't want to go give yourself additional problems, right? Like if you ain't been paying your taxes, you owe that child support, you got arrested on that domestic. You go talk to some lawyer, get the right advice to make sure that you truly are eligible for citizenship. And if you are, go ahead and get them people they $800 or whatever it is, $7 something. Go ahead and pay that money, become a citizen. And they're actually doing it fairly fast now, because last year was an election year, so people were getting interviews within 2-3 months. Now it's about like 4, 5, 6 months or so. But if you're eligible for citizenship, this is the time to do it because listen. 2029 is far. That's a lot of years. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it, right? So that's for people that are lawful permanent residents.
Qui gagne ou connaît que ou follow loi États-Unis de pour là ou pas aucun problème ou pas gain child support ou pas jamais arrêté pour rien ou connaît que ou dans position pour faire pour citizenship, s'il vous plaît, allez remplir application, payer et frais à venir citizen. Et avocat Sandra dit pour un peu le monde qui te pense yo voulait le président d'Haïti, yo pas de faire citizenship yo pour yo kakembe et for them to keep their sovereignty and be a Haitian citizen. Dans moment ça, son bagay pour penser de lui, nous va dire pour voyer vision.
We ain't no dream killers, you know, you could have your dream, I'm just saying.
Pour réfléchir, pour demander tête ou dans moment ça, dans condition haïtienne, est-ce que il y a une possibilité pour me faire plus temps ici, pour me kembe foyer, pour me kembe business, pour me kembe caille, pour me kembe bien que me déjà investi là, ou est-ce que moi dois penser pour me quitter pour mal en Haïti? Parce que dans le moment ça, you know, en anglais nous dit, this is where, you know, the fork meets the road. Ou non connaît là, décision ou prend jodi a, c'est décision pour la vie. Ça veut dire comme ça que comme avocat Sandra te dit, si vous prenez décision pour déporter tout, faut qu'on connaît gon conséquences, puis devant que sous besoin retourner, capable à retourner. Mais sous rete tout, il y a l'autre conséquence que ou ka joindre ou une situation qui dure. So nous voulons que pour peuple là vraiment réfléchir pour qu'on ait que premièrement décision qu'a prend yo en pile nan yo c'est sous loi qui l'a déjà que yo pas jamais appliqué. Son bagage qui très important. C'est vrai parce que là que on vivre dans pays qui te gen esclave, qui te gen loi, qui te dit comme ça que noir pas ton monde, qu'on y a la loi ça yo sous livre toujours et nous pas jamais aller pour nous changer loi ça yo et nous vinn gagner yon leader qui vinn mettre loi ça yo en application. Dans pile monde qui dit comme ça que non, il pas doit faire ça, il pas doit faire ça, mais réalité c'est que l'a avancé d'après loi américain gagné sous livre. Donc c'est nous-mêmes qui pour comprendre qui gens que nous-mêmes n'a avancé, qui décision n'a prend pour famille nous pour demain.
Yeah. And so that's what the people who are lawful permanent residents, right? And typically, if you've had your green card for 5 years, you know, you don't have any crimes, you know, you're a person of good moral character, you can apply. If you're married to a United States citizen, you just need to have your green card for 3 years, and then you can go and apply for citizenship. So those are the basic requirements and everything.
Donc, now, si vous êtes avec un Américain, après 3 ans, vous pouvez appliquer.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Si vous avez green card pour 5 ans, vous pas jamais aucun problème, vous pouvez appliquer.
Yeah. And so for the others that are really the bulk of our conversation is folks that are undocumented. You don't know when I hate to say that, even that your luck is going to run out, because it shouldn't be that, right? But you don't know when, you know, you're going to just be that person that's walking out of the gas station with your cup of coffee, and then some agent is there and they think you look like a person that doesn't have status, and you get stopped, and here you go, end up in some immigration facility. Because it's so random in the way these things are happening, you just need to prepare, right? So you need to know that this is a possibility. So what you got to do, you got to have somebody that if you need to call, be like, listen, they got me, go get the kids, you know, here's where the money is in case I get a bond. If I'm going to take voluntary departure, here's where all my birth certificate, passport is in order for you to give it to them so I can get out of here as soon as possible. You really need to have a plan in place in case you're the person that get picked up. That's just the reality of it, because you don't know when it's going to be you, because again, it is just so random the way some of these things are happening. You have folks who they filed all their applications, their court days are 2 years from now. Maybe they were reporting, they're like, oh, come in, and then here they go with not expecting that to be the thing that's going to happen, right? Or a passenger in a car, right? You're in the car, then you ain't even driving, right? And they pull over the driver, and then you're the passenger, and they're asking you about your ID, and here you go, you're going to end up in some sort of facility. So you have to prepare for it. You got to have a plan in place in case you become that person. So again, who's a resident or citizen that can pay the bond for you? Even if you have the money, a resident or citizen has to come and post it, right? So you got that person. You need to know, again, if you have children or arrangements need to be made. If you're going to be detained, even if you're going to apply for a bond, have a hearing, sometimes that could take anywhere from a month to 6 weeks. Make arrangements for somebody to make sure them bills get paid. So if and when you do come out, you don't have a place to live, right? Or you don't have all of your stuff. So you need to have a plan in place in case you end up being one of those people that end up getting picked up in some very random type situation. And that's happening. So that's the best that I can say, because it's very hard to avoid it, right? So you just have to prepare for it for when it happens. And then, if there's attorneys that already figure out who it is that you want to speak with. I know there's a lot of nonprofits that are doing really good work. When you get into the facility, there'll be a list so you can call them, but understand there's a whole bunch of people getting picked up. They may not have the ability to have everyone or represent everyone who calls them, but have a plan in place. That's the best I can say, because you don't know when it's going to be you.
So, avocat Sandra dit pour tout le monde gagne un plan. En cas que, ou par contre, qui ça va passer demain, ou qu'à penser que, moi-même, tu n'as pas pris la faire, ma pris la faire pas. M'entendant peu de monde dit ça. Mais, dans la situation où il est là, c'est pas mentalité ça pour gagner. Mentalité pour gagner, c'est une mentalité de préparation de jour en jour. Si ou yota kembe ou, est-ce que non yon avocat que ou karele? Est-ce que ou gon moun, parce que ou ka gen kob la pour poster bon nan, mais c'est un américain qui pour poster bon nan pour ou pas ka poster bon nan pour tête ou. So est-ce que ou gon moun que ou karele, moun nan gen accès avec l'argent pour dire comme ça qu'il va poster bon nan pour. Troisièmement, sou gen ti moun, qui jan sa pra lié pour ti moun nan. Si ti moun nan lèl sot l'école, li kon vin entrer la caille, et l'entrée la caille pour compte li, et puis c'est après ou vini, et puis c'est le ça pour ti moun nan minuit, 1h, 2h du matin, mami poko vini, papi poko vini. Donc, s'il vous plaît, mettez bagay sa yo en application, commencez faire préparation, en cas que on bagay ta passé moins, mais avocat karele, même moun nan famille moins que moins chita avec yo, moins di yo, depuis m'tarele yo, m'di yo, moins yo kembe moins, yo connaît pour yo la kay moins, yo connaît que pour yo payer bill moins, yo connaît que pour gen des bagay moins déjà mettre en place et moins ba yo accès à toute information. Bagay ça c'est bagay qui critique parce que comme Sandra dit, si yo ka kembo pour 4 mois, yo ka kembo pour 4 semaines, en vont juge li ka 6 semaines. Un mois qui est passé, si kay pas payé, lumière pas payé, you understand, gen des bagay après 6 semaines, li vin non plus gros problème pour. So souple n'a demandé pour mettre un plan en place pour kembe numéro téléphone moun sa yo, on connaît kounya tout moun gen cell phone, nous pas mémoriser numéro yon encore, numéro important ou écrit ou kembe lavo en cas que on bagay ta passé ou gen numéro téléphone sa yavo. Christine?
Should we put a document together that we can circulate, or maybe I can check and see if Flick has already done something like that, or FOM, see if they've done anything like that. That tells people how to prepare. You know, I think we talked about they have to know who they're signing their kids over to, like just different things. Like should we have like a preparation kit or something for our migrants? That's number one. And number two, my last question, there's been a lot of talk of people going to Canada or whatever. Do you recommend any of that, like finding another country?
So this is the thing. So some people have been going, right? Some people have made it, but understand, like, I got a call, and I got a call. Someone was telling me, like, yeah, they had a person and they tried to go to Canada, right? One of them was admitted and Canada refused the other one. So if Canada refuses you at the border, they're going to turn you over to immigration in New York, wherever you're trying to cross. If you're trying to cross to New York, Michigan, wherever, if they don't let you in, they're going to turn you over to immigration. They're not just going to be like, all right, deuces, go in. They're going to turn you over. And that's been happening, right? So some people, they try to leave, and for whatever reason, Canada refuses them. There are different reasons for that. And if they do, they're going to turn you over. So you have to understand that a possibility is that you're going to still end up with immigration. Now, so one of the situations that I've heard is that some people, they have cases pending. I know that Canada usually wants people to resolve the cases that they have pending, right? So if you've already filed your asylum application, you've done all of this stuff, you don't have an order, none of this, whatever, you know, you still have an opportunity to get some sort of status here. And I think they're a little reluctant to, you know, they're and I'm not going to say categorically that was the reason why that particular person was rejected, because they may have said something. I wasn't there. I don't know what was said, but I know that I think that they don't really want people to come with an open case. And the other part of this too is that there are attorneys that are assisting people to go into Canada. So if that is something that you want to do, just contact one of the Canadian attorneys, because they have their own immigration humanitarian process that you can go through and do it that way, right? Like just go ahead and spend that money and do that, because somehow you're going to end up spending the money anyway. Either you're going to spend it here because they locked you up or whatever. So there are attorneys, you know, in Canada that can assist with that process, and folks need to just go ahead and just try to do it that way. Now, the down part of that, right? Because I went back into practice in like 2016, 2017, when a lot of the Haitians were coming from Brazil, right? So that was that whole time when a lot of them were coming in 2016. Then I love Haitian people, but this is one of the things that I think they do that creates a problem. Is like when one of them, when they find something, they tell everybody, and they tell everyone, and everyone starts to go. So what they end up overburdening certain communities, right? Because like one Haitian comes, they tell a cousin, the cousin comes, and the cousin tell a friend, and the friend comes. So you may have had a town that, you know, like, yeah, they could probably accommodate, you know, 150, 200, maybe even 500 people. But, you know, 3,000 people trying to roll up in there, that's an infrastructure issue, right? Because now that's more water, more this, more garbage.
It's very important. That is.
So that's part of what the problem is. So sometimes expliquer, gen moun yo ki pren desisyon pou yo ale Canada, right? Et puis Canada vraiment pas, li pa realement gen problem, parce que yo konnen misère moun a passe nan pays ya, yo konnen misère Haïtien a passe en Haïti. So yo gen process pour moun, si yo vle entre, yo ka entre, ou ka rele un avocat Canada, et puis yo ka dou ki sa pou faire pour entrer. But problem ki gen des fois Haïtien yo, le yo jwen un kote ka kite yo entre, yo trop moun vini on sel coup. Zami yo vini, cousin vini, maman vini, petite vini, tout moun vini. So un kote kite, maybe yo te ka kembe 2-3 moun, konya 500 moun vini non mois kon sa. So bagay yo pa gen chance pour yo préparer pour tout moun yo vini, but si nou utiliser process yo genyen, des fois yo ka fait moun yo entre, ou yo ka jwen l'autre côté nan pays ya, yo ka mette nou parce que yo gen ta konnen moun na vini. So gen process pour entrer Canada, di ko sa mkwe moun yo essaye faire comme ça, you know, ou ka essaye aller dans frontière, parce que sou aller dans frontière et puis yo di ko sa yo pa quitte entrer, y a remet tout by immigration aux États-Unis, so wap nan prison anyway. Yo pa just quitte aller comme ça, y a brele immigration, Kembo si c'est New York wap ye, ou Michigan koto essaye traverser frontière.
Wow. You know, I first I want to say thank you so very much, Avocat Sandra, chef frère. And of course, Christine, who has been such a vocal voice throughout this whole process. Yon nan bagay ke mwen ta reme pale la, nan 5 à 10 minutes ki rete ya, c'est que what mwen fait ici, Christine fait ici, Sandra ou fait ici, pas vrai?
No, I was going to the Bahamas.
Oh, Bahamas, ok.
Mhm.
Nan ki pouen pou nye la, nan tout sa kap fet la, nan ki pouen ke nou dwe di Haïti d'abord. Parce que li très facile pour nous dire comme ça que administration pas fait ça, administration fait ça, ça pas bon pour nous et façon que la page a pas bon, mais la protéger peuple li, la protéger pays li. Soi-disant, yo pas vle immigrant encore, mais c'est droit yo pour yo di yo pas vle immigrant encore. Nous-mêmes,
No, I don't agree with that.
okay,
I
Dim.
don't agree with that. No, not America. This country was built by immigrants. No, I don't agree with that at all.
Listen,
I mean, what does the Statue of Liberty say? Bring us your wheat, bring us your this, bring us your that. No, that's no.
Yeah.
Not America.
I'm with Sandra on that one.
No, but the reality of it is, yes, c'est immigrant qui bâti pays ça. Yes, t'es gon le que yo te vle immigrant. Pourquoi? Parce que yo te besoin nous.
They still do.
No,
Yes, they do.
No, immigrants
yes,
are not
they
just
do.
black.
Yes,
There
they
are white
do.
immigrants that were never slaves. This entire country.
No,
Like, there's not one person, unless you're Native American, that is actually American.
Gon type de immigrant qu'elle vle kounye. C'est pas qu'elle pas vle immigrant. Parce que if he's creating the gold card for five, it's clear.
And them people ain't coming. Those people are going to come so they can have their business here and make their money here, but they don't want to live here.
So I want to spend the next couple of minutes as, you know, second, third generation Haitian Americans. At what point do we start focusing on what is happening in Haiti and creating a conversation around what needs to happen in Haiti and literally start influencing what happens in Haiti, knowing that right now for the next, we can say 3.5 years, because he just got here, right? So 3.5 years, what do we push where Haiti's concerned?
Well, so that has to be a different episode. We have to have a separate episode talking about what it is that, you know, immigrants can do in their native countries to make things better or make it to a point where people either want to stay, people really want to go back, and they need to invest in a different kind of way. So that's not something we could talk about in 2 minutes. That really should be a different episode, right? And those are things that should have always been happening. But one of the things I want to say, and particularly when it comes to Haiti, it ain't Haiti's fault, Haiti where it is, right? Because it's one thing, like you have people that are invested, you have people that are doing great things. You have like brain drain that's happening in Haiti because they're all the smart folks, intellectuals, all the other countries got them doing all of these great things. But then we also have other European countries that are benefiting from the fact that Haiti isn't successful, right? So the burden really isn't just on, you know, first gen, second gen Haitian Americans to go and make that country better, because the forces are bigger than that. Like, yes, we have some responsibility, but we also need to start telling the truth about why Haiti continues to be in a position where it can't get itself out of the situation, right? Ain't no guns manufactured in Haiti. How they over there, right? You know, like those, ain't no gun store in Haiti. Where they get those guns from? Those guns, like Ronald, I'm going to take, this is Ronald Seward's word. He was talking like this guy is walking around in flip-flops, but he got a $3,000 gun on him. Where you getting that from? Ain't nobody in Haiti got that kind of money to buy those weapons. So let's be real about like part of what's happening there. That ain't like, we can go back there and do all of the things, but if you got somebody that's dumping $3,000 weapons in the country, my words and my business that I want to bring in ain't about to make no difference. You know what I'm saying? So we have to acknowledge that the reason why Haiti continues to be in the condition that it's in is bigger than just, you know, Haitian Americans, expats coming going back into the country. That is something that has to happen on a bigger international scale, and we need to start telling it, right, and shame them, like shame those folks into like not sending those guns over there trying to act like these people crazy. But no, y'all the one that's doing that. We need to start shaming them and letting people know that they're the ones that are continue to have Haiti in this condition, but then they want to call them S-hole countries and all of this kind of stuff. So
I love
that's where the conversation should be. I think at least start.
I love what you just
From
said.
our future politician. I'm just saying.
I don't know about that.
So
I'm gonna have the other people get elected.
I love what you just said, because I do believe that a second generation, third, fourth generation should be playing a role in this, because people who are living in scarcity, people who are living in a state of fear, they can't advocate for themselves. They can't fight for themselves. That is upon those who have some kind of stability, right? Who has a voice that is not that they don't feel threatened, right? To speak up. And I think one of the ways that we can speak up, and we can definitely have a second show on this as you shared, one of the ways we can speak up is identifying to the administration what the issues are in Haiti, how they have contributed to these issues, and what we need for them to do to stop these things from happening. So while you want to remove Haitian immigrants out of the country, and that is your choice,
take your guns back too.
Because I'm like, you can't have your cake and eat it too, right? You can't, it's not right to say, I don't want them here, but you are not holding yourself accountable for why their country is in the state that it is. And I think that while there's a large group of people who are, protesting and challenging the administration on keeping migrants here, I definitely would like to entertain the conversation about blocking, stopping, advocating for what has been going on in Haiti that has caused Haiti to be where it's at. And they are directly responsible for that. And if you're going to say they can't stay, then you need to fix that part as well. And I think I think we as third, fourth generation Haitian Americans, that it's upon us. It's upon us, because you can't say it's not your problem, because at the end of the day, if you call yourself Haitian or Haitian American, it's all our problem. It's all our problem.
All right, Christine, because we're gonna wrap this up. What you got to say?
I just wanted to say thank you. No, I honestly, for me, I just need marching orders, because I'm all about action. And I think that right now, whatever we can do to mitigate this chaos that's happening or is about to happen, especially after April 25th, I think that it's a serious issue. So if we can get some of these ideas on a document in Creole, in English and in Creole, to sort of disseminate to the community, I think that would be a great start.
Yeah, and definitely, with the citizenship stuff, you mentioned Flick, and I know that Carleen Maxwell Williams, right, William Maxwell in Lauderhill, she does one like every other month or every couple of months, whatever, right? So we need to start promoting those whenever they're happening. Just let people know, post this, listen, they're gonna at least help you with the application. Some people may be eligible for fee waivers, not everybody. And those people who always don't want to pay for stuff, think of it as an investment. I mean, come on, right? Like $700, whatever it is, pay the money, because you're getting something that's valuable out of it. Like, don't always try to get everything for free. There's certain things you just need to see them as an investment and go ahead and pay the money. But there will be some folks, especially if you get like mean tests, like benefits, the elderly, the older folks, they're gonna they'll be able to get waivers and that type of stuff. But if you're working, you need to save $100 each check. In a couple of months, you'll have the money. Go ahead and pay for the application. So we need to promote those. And then, like you said, we can draft a document to tell people like these, here's your plan in place, right? Just figure out who's the person going to be that's going to get the kids. And for those who have cars, right? Like if you're going to get sent back and you got a car that's paid for, you need to give somebody need to have access to that title so they can go and sell that thing, because you're going to need that money out of the posted bond to get out or do whatever. So you also need to, figure out where your assets are. Somebody, and you got to trust people, because let me tell you, I've seen it where folks get picked up and they thought they can trust people, and the people got their PIN number and take all their money and let them get sent back with nothing. So you really got to figure out who that trusted person is that you're going to be able to trust to get your money, help you out while you're detained. I'm telling you, listen, I've been doing it long enough that I've seen a lot of things, you know.
Confiance. Yo
Yeah.
Moun na le prend tout l'argent.
Tout l'argent. Voye moun nan bak avec rad li te gen sou li le yo arrêté. Yeah. Yeah. So they left with the clothes on their back. Yeah. So it happens, you know, because they give you an opportunity. They wouldn't even bring the suitcase of clothes because they let you, you know, when they're going, that you can bring a suitcase. Yeah, they wouldn't even bring them the suitcase. Yeah, so you gotta, you know, but you gotta have a plan. You have to have a plan because you don't never know. And one of the other things that are happening is they're messing with, they're picking up people in Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and everything, and bringing them here. So it's yet no matter where you are. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
Bon,
so have a plan in place.
Pour clôturer, nous disons ça plusieurs fois dans pile et quand on commence à se dire comme ça que si nous parler de nous ka toucher conversation dans so many parts, so many intricate details, li en pile, mais travail nous juste essayer porter information qui plus important pour qu'à connaître qui gens que ou prendre décision ou prendre. Donc c'est très important. Number one, tout le monde s'il vous plaît, mettons plan en place, qu'il y ait des numéros de téléphone importants sous avec en cas que tu appelons. Un bon exemple, avant, dans notre mamie, en cubain, li juste sorti devant la caille, la jeté gabiche li. Et puis pendant la jeté gabiche là, n'a regardé notre caméra qui était devant la caille que yo bay et journaliste yo. C'est quand tout monsieur a ça sorti out of nowhere et puis vous li courir sous lui et puis cite non, il dit est-ce que c'est un tel et puis va pli pour monsieur là avec monsieur. Mais comprendre sous la caillou ou lever matin son petit café getan boire ou pas vraiment baigner ou pas faire rien ou juste sortir de avec un sapat dans pied un petit bout de short sous un maillot et puis vous prend. So m'a dit que tout le monde qui dans situation ou connaît situation ou connaît status légal faut qu'on prudent dans moment ça. Faut qu'on très prudent. Oui, on ka prendre même devant la caillou. So ça veut dire comme ça que tout ça va faire considérer demain. Et qui j'ont qu'à considérer demain, c'est planification en cas que on bagaille passer ou bien 2-3 numéros que ou mémoriser dans tête ou yon avocat moun qui responsable et ça avocat Sandra dit finance ou qui responsable qui prend décision pour vous et en famille que si que yo besoin poster bonne pour on moun qui légal dans pays qui ka fait manœuvre ça pour c'est important pour un avocat comme Sandra dit ou ka dit non pas besoin dans moment ça ou besoin monde qui gagne moi-même moi fait ici Christine fait ici nous dit information Sandra fait ba nous première fois nous tendel c'est en pile dans nous-mêmes c'est le problème dans vini n'a pas prendre des systèmes non plus parce que nous pas jamais interact avec système dans la façon ça donc nous pas gain information ça yo. Donc s'il vous plaît prends toute planification prends toute précaution qu'on prend planifier en cas que nous-mêmes n'a continuer connecter avec Sandra pour nous venir pour nous bonne information pour nous essayer lighten the load et essayer étirer poids sous même pour qu'à connaître parce que chaque jour son bagage différent pour qu'à ou même qu'à trier ça très important pour qu'à kembe information ça pour qu'à prendre une bonne décision.
And so before Christine does her final words, I want to say that I just got an email that the Supreme Court has basically said that they have to bring the gentleman that was unlawfully removed, sent to El Salvador. They have to bring him back. So they sent it back to the lower court to give clarification on what it is that the government needs to do. So they're supposed to be they're saying that they're supposed to bring the man back, and we all know that, right? So like I said,
Supreme Court is saying,
yeah, they didn't want to say it yesterday because I'm like, ain't nothing else for you to say. That they got to bring that man back. If he wasn't supposed to be deported, he wasn't supposed to be deported. So they basically sit there back saying yes, they got to give the government instructions on how to bring him back. Because at the end of the day, even though the president has a lot of influence on the court, they, for their own legacy, it's like you gotta uphold, say what the law says. There are some times where there's some wiggle room, but that one there was no wiggle room in that. Like you can't send people back and they're allowed to stay. And then the more incredible thing about that, they didn't even send that man back to his home country. They're sending Venezuelans to El Salvador. Who does that? Like, that's crazy talk, so.
So, est-ce que c'est parce que yo pas même pour un petit temps pour interview moun nan pour vraiment connaître information pour make sure que information yo gagnant is true, or
so some of it was that, a lot of it was like they don't care. They just, because they basically said that all of these people were like gang members and they were dangerous, and that's why they sent them to El Salvador. They're almost like prisoners, like they because El Salvador is contracting to detain them for America, and they're supposed to at some point have hearings and all that kind of stuff, just like how they were sending people to Guantanamo. It's like that's a version of sending people to Guantanamo, was that group of folks that they sent to El Salvador. You get there and then they figure out what your rights are and if you shouldn't be there, shouldn't be there, and all of that type of stuff.
So it has nothing to do with them being from El Salvador. El Salvador,
no, they weren't
agreed to detain people for them,
for the United States. Yeah.
And isn't it funny they chose the worst prison there?
Mm-hmm. It's not funny. That's what they were trying to do. Yeah. It's wild.
It's crazy.
It's wild. Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for having us.
Thanks for coming.
This has been weighing heavy on my heart. I don't know how to help people. It's frustrating, but I think this conversation really opened my eyes to a lot of different things. It also calmed a little bit of the chaos, because I think that we're panicking on the inside. On the outside, we know that the courts are doing their job, and we know that there are organizations and communities that are helping. We just need to connect with them. So thank you so much. And then also it helps to know that logistically, what they want to pull off, they can't. Half of the stuff that they suggest, they logistically cannot pull it off. So it's about just staying on top of everyone's status, meet with your attorney, save up the money, pay the fees, do whatever you have to do to try to apply and get your citizenship, or taking the steps that you need to take to secure your family and your belongings in the event that something happens. So, and then also I learned, in the event that you do want to go to Canada, you should probably try to apply first before even trying to cross the border.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of information.
Yeah. No, you should definitely try to apply.
A lot of great information. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
No, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Dr. Blemur, thank you. You always like to bring in the facts and the fire.
No. Listen, I just, I look at the situation, like if I was in the situation, what would I want to know? If I had to, si m'te en position pour ma penser pour demain pour petit moi, qui ça m'da remen on moun qui gen information pour faire? C'est bonne information parce que m'ka pas ka payer pour information dans moment ça. Mais m'ka gen décision m'obligé prendre. So, un moun qui fait vidéo, m'konnaît yo ça pas occuper moun qui avocat et YouTube, nous pas avocat YouTube, mais nous porter yon registered avocat avec nous. A race and the races have been around for a very long time. Sandra fait des années depuis la fait ça, il est consistant la donner. Donc, nous te ouais que si nous te voulons porter information bah nous, c'est avec avocat Sandra pour nous ta fait ça. Donc, nous disons Sandra, merci beaucoup.
Thank you.
Parce que je connais que this is a thankless job. Merci beaucoup pour temps. Merci pour le sacrifice que vous avez fait dans la communauté et dans la vie professionnelle parce que vous allez en dedans, vous allez mettre avec clients, donc vous avez pile expérience que vous même fait dans le moment ça que nous ne connaissons pas parler de lui, but you are in the trenches, you are in the deep of it, so vous comprenez ça qui a passé, donc nous disons merci parce que même si on monte qu'à payer, vraiment, yo pas qu'à payer pour ça experience emotionally. Okay? Parce que là, pour moun yo dans condition ça yo, li pas facile. So I just want to give you your flowers now.
Thank you.
Say, we love you. Thank you for all that you do. Et si vous gagnez un besoin, vous pouvez contacter les pages de monde qui fait promotion pour tête li, so moi fait promotion pour lui. Vous pouvez contacter avocat Sandra qui l'a depuis plus de 15 ans depuis la fait travail ça.
It's a little more than that, but it's okay.
15 years and more. Ça et ou ka li honnête ou ka li direct et li gen du fait pour le goumen pour donc ou besoin monde qui gen capacité pour not just litigate and lawyer mais que monde na avec pour aider. Okay,
all right.
Until next
Thank
time.
you. All righty. Good night. Y'all don't hang up. I'm going to play the video and then get off the live. Okay.
All right, bye.
Elections have consequences. Elections have consequences.